Assassin's Creed, a franchise that is known far and wide across the globe for mediocrity? No. I raise you chronic inconsistency, damn it! You like stealthy takedowns? You like smooth sailing parkour? You like hidden switchblades? But do you like fighting Medusa?
What the fuck is going on here?
See, there's evolution and there's radicalism. Skull and Bones entails none of the above. I used to love Assassin's Creed games. Assassin's Creed 2 on the PS3, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines on the PSP, Assassin's Creed Syndicate on the PS4. And then they came out with this. Yahoo! Call me a bootlicking platformer merchant, but I'll gobble down 37 buckets of chum before I admit that Assassin's Creed Odyssey was a good game. And I don't like chum buckets. I just don't know what happened. These games used to feature actual assassins with gameplay you'd expect from an actual assassin, not a gladiator. Now the good thing is it does seem like we're getting a return to the glory days of the mandatory tailing of a character for 10 minutes straight as part of a mission that you can't skip. I swear I'm not crying. But, if you were wondering how 18 years of innovation, sprinkled with a big dash of Ghost of Tsushima, led us back to square one, or you were wondering why the game with Assassin in the title suddenly decided to become an RPG brawler, or why Assassin's Creed Shadows is the most exciting thing since Bread, hey, no one decided to come out with Bread 2. A man is disappointed. Stick around till the end of the video and subscribe so I can keep on yapping about the evolution of your favorite or maybe not so favorite video game series. It all started back in 2003. The first Assassin's Creed game was released in 2007, but it all started back in 2003. My dogs over at Ubisoft Montreal had just finished developing Prince of Persia: Sands of Time and had just released it the same year. You know that game, Sands of Time? It's a good one. Now, towards the end of 2003, Canadian game designer and Assassin's Creed creator Patris, not really sure how to pronounce that, so we're just gonna call him Patty D. So Patty D had been instructed at Ubisoft to start working on the next Prince of Persia game. Now, at this time, the new Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 hadn't been announced, since it was late 2003 and we were still fiddling with dukes and memory cards. The new Prince of Persia game was initially meant to be a linear game like Sands of Time, but a year later in 2004, as they gradually learned more and more information about the next generation of consoles and the magic that those new and improved GPUs could work, they said, and I quote, "Golly gee, thank God, we're not gonna make the same damn game again. We'll do it bigger and better. We'll do an open world game." They were cooking. What were they cooking? You'll see. Keep looking. Now, Patty D's team strongly considered the idea of somehow converting and expanding the acrobatic gameplay elements of the Prince of Persia games into some kind of newer open world system, and honestly, they did amazing because they came out with this never-before-seen super smooth-flowing parkour system. And after a grand total of about 4 years from conceptualization to development, the game Assassin's Creed launched on November 13, 2007 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Only 12 days after the launch of Super Mario Galaxy on the Wii. Why is this important? It's not. I'm just a whore for Mario. Yahoo! Woohoo! Okay, new Prince of Persia game, okay? Let's see what you got. First of all, large crowd. I mean, with Sands of Time on PS2 hardware, the GPU could apparently only handle about 8 characters on screen at once, while the first Assassin's Creed could now support up to a whopping 120 at once. I love you, Mario Galaxy, but even you ain't doing that. Whoopsie! Assassin's Creed was also one of those games that pretty much pushed open world gaming to newer and better standards. While not as revolutionary for the genre as, say, Grand Theft Auto 3, the new parkour system was wild, and I'm not talking Breath! This was Breath of the Wild before Breath of the Wild. I mean, you see any building you want, you can climb it, run on top of it, and descend from it whenever you please. This was a whole new layer of verticality to open world games, and that was truly amazing. I mean, sure, you couldn't really go anywhere, as the map was way more limited than Breath of the Wild's, and there wasn't that much to do in the open world other than parkour and f***ing kill people. But you gotta understand, this was 2007. We had only just gotten the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. This level of mobility and freedom in an open world game was pretty much unprecedented at the time. The game was set in 1191, which, if you know anything about history, that was a long time ago. Players took control of an assassin named Altair to experience this new open world, which was set in a part of the Middle East, then known as the Holy Land. So, the weird thing with Assassin's Creed is this. You actually play as a modern-day man called Desmond Miles, who, through a machine called the Animus, relived the genetic memories of his ancestor, Altair. So, let's get this straight. You're playing as someone who's playing as someone, and the whole Assassin's Creed game is one big flashback. Got it. Through this Animus device, we're told about an ancient power struggle between two different factions. The Assassin Brotherhood, which was actually inspired by the real-life Order of Assassins. As they often say, art imitates reality. How many times have I used the word assassin in this video? So these assassins fight to preserve peace and free will. And they're going up against the Templar Order, inspired by the real-life Knights Templar military order. They seek to establish peace through strict control. Both teams are embroiled in a fight over these powerful artifacts known as pieces of Eden, and each of them want to use the artifacts to get an upper hand over the other. Altair, the assassin in the game, goes on a quest to regain his honor after f***ing up a mission to retrieve one of the pieces of Eden from the Templars. Bro got stripped off his master assassin status and now has to assassinate 9 people to redeem himself. See, it's like Prince Zuko if the Fire Lord was an even bigger piece of shit. The game launched to pretty favorable reviews, amassing a Metacritic score of 81 and sold 8 million copies. Now, that's a big number for almost any franchise and an extremely massive one for a new IP. Obviously, due to the critical and financial success, the game would go on to spawn several sequels over the next decade and a half, some of which at a point diverted away from the stealth and parkour-based gameplay, which were the reasons why we loved Assassin's Creed in the first place. Like, look, don't get me wrong, I'm all for evolution and games trying different things, but just like changing the whole genre and approach to the game from, stealthy, sneaky, cool-looking assassinations to huge, sprawling RPG brawlers, I don't really know about that. Now, this new direction was regarded by some as a good direction for the series. I said some. I didn't specify if it's some fools or some buffoons. I miss the old Assassin's Creed games. I just think they were better. Still are, even when I go back to replay them. I remember my introduction to the Assassin's Creed series being through Assassin's Creed 2 on the PS2, on the PS3. Oh, my sweet memories playing this back on my 320GB PS3 Slim. Can you tell I really loved my console? Anyways, Ubisoft eventually realized that a true return to the Assassin form would be the best decision for the franchise, and in turn started doing so with 2023's Assassin's Creed Mirage, which featured Dr. Robotnik's very own goat milk loving sidekick, Agent Stone.
Relax, you intergalactic aardvark.
Reception on this one was a bit positive, but still kind of mixed, especially when it came to the story. I mean, I guess people didn't mind the game, but it wasn't as loved as some older Assassin's Creed games. Now, the new upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows is shaping up to be another return to the good old days of stalking and running, and a lot of people have referred to this game as Ghost of Tsushima 2, to which I say, I kinda get it, I'm not gonna lie. But it is also kind of ironic since back then people were calling Ghost of Tsushima the Assassin's Creed Japan we never got. Now we're actually getting an Assassin's Creed Japan, and people are calling it Ghost of Tsushima 2. It's the duality of man. Now, I myself am what you may call a weebly. I see Japan, I'm in, mama! And honestly, this game does look pretty interesting. The game is set in 16th century Japan, and the story unfolds from the perspective of 2 different protagonists. It's not the first time they've done this. Assassin's Creed Syndicate introduced us to Evie and Jacob Fry, with Evie being my personal favorite Assassin's Creed assassin for reasons I will not be going into. The game comes out in March of this year, and the assassins in Assassin's Creed Shadows are Naoe, a female shinobi, and Yasuke, an African samurai inspired by the historical figure of the same name. I remember the inclusion of Yasuke the Black Samurai causing some kind of controversy, and I use that word very loosely here, but it was just a minuscule cesspool of weirdos on Twitter being weirdos on Twitter, as usual. The two characters control pretty differently with unique gameplay styles, allowing the option to approach missions in totally different ways. So playing as Naoe is very reminiscent of older Assassin's Creed games. She's very stealthy, she has smooth parkour, she can sneak into or under smaller spaces and use grappling hooks, assassinate people silently, all of that good stuff. Well, my man Yasuke is much more of a brute. The guy isn't nearly as stealthy or nimble when it comes to running around, but he does pack in way more of a punch than Naoe does. Assassin's Creed games have always been open world games, so I guess that part hasn't really changed. Although this time the open world does deliver more ever-changing lighting and seasons, as well as featuring more breakable props if that's a plus for you. You can slice bamboo! You get the ability to freely switch between characters as you progress through different missions, based on whichever gameplay style rocks your boat the best. I probably will opt for Naoe more often than not, and not just because she reminds me of Evie Fry, but simply because her gameplay looks more like my type of Assassin's Creed. Now, my type of Assassin's Creed. My type of Assassin's Creed. What about my type of GTA? Or my type of Animal Crossing? I don't know, but if you have 16 brain cells and want to find out what a man like me has to say about the evolution of a game like this, stay tuned and maybe subscribe. Or maybe go suck on a monkey's dick! Swagger!